Well, we usually talk about our team in these sessions, but I'd like to take a minute to kind of congratulate the university and President Moorhead on the latest U.S. News and World Report of the 13th ranking in public institutions. I think that's pretty special. I know we sell that hard in recruiting, and anytime you've got a top 15 university public institution, it sells itself, and that's something that we've been really proud of, and I know the university's proud of that stat and continue to climb in those rankings each year. So really proud of that. And with that, I'll move on to MTSU, Middle Tennessee. I got a lot of respect for their coach, a guy I've known for a long time in this profession. He helped me at a very young age, learning how to recruit on the road. I traveled and recruited some when I was working for Coach Hatcher with Coach Stockstill. He does a great job. Always just had tremendous respect for the job he's done. You know, he's one of the longest tenured coaches at his school in the country. Haven't been there, I think, since either 06 or 07. And he does a tremendous job. So I got a lot of respect for him. You know, his son's a quarterback. He's a really good football player. They beat 3 Power 5 schools in the last 6 or 7 years. And they got really good athletes, really good football team, and our focus kind of turns to them. With that, I'll open it up.
Coach, it's easy for fans and sports writers to say that you want to see the team you cover, the team you follow, play a SEC opponent or Power 5 every single week. How do you feel about games like this? Austin Peay Open, this game, UMass at the end?
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for these programs. I got a lot of respect for the student athletes that play at these programs. I think that games like these a lot of times are an opportunity for their programs to survive and stay alive. And financially, they're important to some of these programs. So I had mixed emotions about it when it comes to that, because I think when you look at the NFL and week in and week out, playing the caliber opponents they're forced to play, it forces parity on more people. And I've said before, I've been in favor of whether it's a 9-game SEC schedule. It doesn't matter to me. It's not something that we shy away from. I think it's good for the fan base to have the better games or the home and homes. I think those things are good for college football, but you have to look at it through two people's perspective. And sometimes these programs wouldn't survive, and I'm a big advocate for football in general. And I think that they need these games to survive financially. And without them, some of these programs may not be able to survive.
Coach, as you speak of the quarterback at Middle Tennessee, and he was a guy that's had back-to-back pretty good performances over the year here. As you kind of look at his passing ability and how Middle Tennessee predicates the offense upon what he can do, how important is it to get more of a pass rush this week, and how would you evaluate your pass rush this point?
Yeah, we're always looking to improve pass rush. I mean, I think that you're never where you need to be, but that's one of the areas we want to improve. Two things have to happen in pass rush. You have to cover them long enough to rush them, and you also have to stop the run to force them to pass the ball. And we're a run-stop first team. That's what we pride ourselves on, which probably takes a little bit away from the pass rush, to be honest with you. So it's an area that I know since we've arrived, we've been pretty good on defense here, but if you'd say one thing, you'd say we've been insufficient in pass rush. Well, you don't get both worlds, because you can be really good at pass rush and not real good at run defense. So we pride ourselves on that, but it's something we really work on. I think it's really important on these guys not to give a quarterback a long time to sit back there, because he's really good at it. They also, on the other hand, know that it's hard for them to block some of our guys every down in and down out, so they get rid of the ball quick. So you have to be careful about how many times you overdo the rush, because they have an incredible screen game. The quarterback is a very good decision maker. He knows where he's going with the ball, and they have really good skilled players to get the ball to.
Kirby, what went through your mind Saturday when you guys had to insert Cade Mays in the lineup there in the second half? And how did he grade out? And how was Andrew Thomas' availability this week?
Andrew Thomas is still ankle sprained. He'll be out today. Hopefully be back for the game, but that's still not known. We'll see how he is tomorrow. Today he's going to rehab and work on it. I know he's been doing some stuff on the treadmill with it. He'll be getting back. Cade, I was excited for Cade as much as I was disappointed for Andrew, because Cade's worked hard. He came in at mid-year and worked really hard. The biggest reaction I had was, I'm glad we practice the way we do. I'm glad that he has to go against really good players day in and day out, so that's not unusual for him. And he did some good things when he went in. You know, I think the overwhelming consent was when we went in, that like, it just like took over. A lot of that had to do with the body blows that occurred before that. But he had some mistakes. He did some things that weren't real good, but he did some good things. Find positive in it, but also find area for improvement.
A quick follow-up on that. Were you surprised that Cade Mays went in? I know you guys cross-trained, but I think ultimately you leave it up to Sam that he was the first left tackle, or maybe I'm wrong.
Was I surprised that he went in?
Yeah.
You don't think we talked about that? You don't think we met about that? There are no surprises when you're prepared.
Yeah.
So for us, that's been talked about long before things happen in the game. Sometimes in a game you make rash decisions and you don't make in the heat of the moment the right decision. So we talk about that every game. Who the first this is, what happens if he moves to 2, go down, who's third. You gotta do that at every position because in a game things can happen fast, and I wasn't surprised that he went in. That was a decision that we all made as coaches based on how we practiced. You can't make that decision in the game. You gotta practice the players where they have an opportunity to play. And Cade's been working at left tackle and left guard.
Coach, you talked about your wide receivers, blocking on the perimeter very high on them, what they did after the game the other day. Particularly about Tyler Sims had that one really huge block. Is this the want to be able to do that, something just come natural for him, something he's had to learn?
Well, I think physicality is a learned trait that he's learned over the course of time. First of all, he has a stature and body that's 200 pounds. He's thick, he's physical, he's tough. I mean, basically, we're not going to play you if you don't do that. So the reward is I get to play in the game, catch the ball if I block. And he had one but two really good blocks. Everybody saw the one on Miko's, but the DeAndre Swift run, he knocked his guy to the ground early in the game as well. So he's proven to be a physical blocker. He catches the ball well. He's got good speed. He's built like a running back. And if he continues to get better and practice better, he can be a really good player for us.
Coach, with the constant changing and evolution of tackling and what's a healthy tackle and what's a non-flag tackle, have you been forced to teach your players different ways to tackle over the last year or two?
No, we really haven't. I mean, we've never taught them to lead with their head or aim or target for someone else's head. We certainly don't teach that. We practice a lot thudding, which I call thud, is when you wrap up without taking them to the ground. And I think Coach Tucker says it all the time to the defensive guys, it's harder to thud than it is to tackle. So when you can go tackle a guy in a game, it's usually easier than thudding. And thudding, you have to hit him properly. You got to wrap up without going to the ground, which is a safer, more practice way to tackle. So it's sometimes harder on our guys in a practice to do the thud than it is to go physically tackle someone to the ground. You know, we always talk about aiming for midsection, aiming for the lower spot, and not ever leading with the head. And those are things that I know we've always taught, or at least everywhere I've been, we didn't teach guys to target, and that's important for the game so you don't lose guys.
Coach, beyond a victory, what are you looking to get out of this game, and how much competition is there still within the team for playing time, starting positions, things like that?
As much as ever. You know, I mean, I've got my message set for the team today, and it's really about that alone. It's not anything about who we play, nor any disrespect for Middle Tennessee. It's totally about us and competing within practice. We've got some really good competitions going on where guys are battling for playing time, guys are battling for spots, and the best way to measure that is not against a scout team player, but against a good-on-good situation, which every day, including today, we'll do good-on-good situations and try to find out where guys are and continue to earn playing time. I think the only way you develop your team towards the end goal, which is to be as good as you can possibly be by the end of the season, is to improve during the season. And that's where I think we can separate ourselves, because we can improve during the season. We have enough depth to go against each other and continue to improve, and that's the end goal for us.
Coach, is this weekend's weather having any kind of impact on how you guys are practicing? Do you have an eye on that? And separate question, have you had any conversations with DeAndre Baker about his interception and ball placement at the 1 yard line?
Well, the first one with the weather, I've seen what's coming, and certainly a lot of thoughts and prayers go out to people in the South Carolina community in the area that may be hit by it. But right now, I don't think it's going to affect us a lot other than wind possibly, and there's not a lot we can do to control that. So we're going to continue to work on Middle Tennessee and get ready for it. As far as DeAndre, obviously I was disappointed that he would do that prior to crossing the goal line. I think it's an effect of not having many opportunities to do that. You know, he had almost the exact same situation for the spring game. And we went back and showed him that and said, hey, here, you crossed the goal line and went across and handled the ball the right way. He did. And so he'll get some extra practice doing it today.
Coach, if you take a look at Rodrigo Blankenship's body of work to this point of the season, 15 for 15 on touchbacks, had another big field goal there at the end of the first half. I mean, if I just look back at the beginning of last year and the year before, you know, he was in competition for the starting job. And as you look at him now, can you speak on how much of a weapon or an asset he is on special teams?
Yeah, he's been incredible, to be honest with you. I think our special team staff does a tremendous job of making sure he's fresh. He does a tremendous job of taking care of his body. It's shown in the last 2 games with the power and drive consistently. I mean, most guys wear out as the game goes on. Maybe have to kick another kicker, or maybe don't kick him off. He just continues to pound the ball and does a great job doing it. He's a leader on our team, and he's awesome to work with. I mean, he's become a weapon, and we have to use him as such.
Coach, speaking of weather, can you talk about the heat at the South Carolina game, being on the sideline, blurring the sun, and how the oxygen tanks are used?
I probably wouldn't be the best to talk about that because I really don't even notice the heat as a coach because I'm not in pads and we're out there in it every day. I certainly know some of our players when we go over and visit with them on the sideline are using the oxygen tanks, and I think Ron could talk to you more about that. I've been told it's more of a placebo effect and that it actually is not. It's mental more than anything, but we'll supply our players with everything we can to help them be at their best.
Rap poison question.
Yeah.
Last year, as you all start going on this run, it's kind of a little newer, so it's probably a little easier. This year, when you start ranked where you are and you have results that kind of validate that, any different message, any different approach to the guys?
I don't think so. I really think the approach and the deal is that the pats on the back, sometimes they're not real. The pats on the back are all conditional, and we're not into conditional love or conditional improvement. We want to improve unconditionally. We want to be loved unconditionally, and the way you do that is by trusting and believing in your teammates and getting better. And we're going to try to sell this team today, and this week, and every week on getting better, because we can't control all these outside forces. We can't control what other teams do. We can't control what people say. All we can control is how we work, and if the leaders buy into that message and understand that we have to get better to get where we want to go, then we usually tend to do that.
Coach, I know you addressed this in Destin a little bit, but just watching college football highlights, it seems like this 2 quarterback thing's becoming a bit of a trend. Do you see that looking into the future where teams are going to work 2 quarterbacks just because of the injuries and the situations at a lot of these top schools?
Yeah, I certainly think that it's very important to have 3 quarterbacks on any roster, because when you don't have 3, you're a play away all the time. And I think that's no better evidence than in the NFL, because those guys usually carry 3 on a roster and they have emergency guys. But it's become more and more of a trend because I think A, guys have left more often now, and B, guys get injured because they're spread and they're running more. So you've got to have the ability to protect the quarterback, and you've got to have the ability to have 2 quarterbacks that can play.
After the game, you were talking about how letting the air out of a defense, playing or just a team physically and those things. I wanted to ask, you talk about the standard, playing to the standard, the scoreboard, all that stuff. Does it kind of change? Not necessarily change, but do you find it a little different when you're seeing your team do that, what it was able to do Saturday and other games, and your ability to coach as well, your ability to call games, Jim's ability to call games, and also the players and kind of their attitude on the sideline? Does it have like a ripple effect?
I don't know. Are you asking if there's momentum in being able to get a lead?
I'm just saying, does it change the way you guys coach? I mean, obviously, I know the message is still the same, and you want them to be physical, but when you see your team starting to do that, is it something that changes the way you guys are coaching the players, and maybe you switch gears a little bit?
I don't think so. I mean, I certainly coach from the beginning whistle to the end whistle exactly the same all the time, because I don't think the scoreboard matters. So if the scoreboard doesn't matter, why, if we're down 25, 30, whatever we were down at Ole Miss, should I be coaching different than if we're up 25 or 30 against somebody at home? I just don't see the difference in that. Because I believe in what we tell the players, which is playing to that standard and playing like the scoreboard's not there. So if you coach the same way, then the expectation for the player that goes in, whether you're up or down, is exactly the same.
What kind of, you talk about Tyler Simmons and what a good blocker is. What kind of improvements do you want to see Demetrius Robertson make where he gets on the field maybe more earlier? And is that one of the areas that you'd like to see improvement from him?
Yeah, I don't know that Demetrius didn't get on the field earlier. I thought Demetrius played a good bit and will continue to. He's trying to compete in practice, and we'll always play the best players here. And when those guys are at the top of their game, we'll have a good rotation going. I think right now at the wideout position we've got good depth because we've got guys that can do different things. A lot of guys that are really physical, maybe a fast guy, maybe a vertical threat guy. But at the end of the day, when you turn the tape on, the guys that get open are going to be the guys that play. And South Carolina did a good job in pressing some of our guys. It was a good thing we could run the ball because they had our hands on a lot of our wideouts, and creating separation is really important.
2 more questions? Last question.
Kirby, do you hope to get Justin Fields' work when the game's in the balance, get him quality work, or obviously the goal is to win the game? Anyone can.
I think the important thing for Justin is that he continues to improve. He's worked hard, and we want him to continue to improve as a player. That's what's going to make our team better, and that's what's important in his future, to continue to do that. I'd love to get him an opportunity to get in these games.